Welcome to the Problematic Gazette with me, Dr. Lee Arnott.
And me, Dave Moore.
Each episode, your two favourite puffs of a certain age sit and chew the card, reflect on the week that's just gone by, talk about anything that's grabbed our attention or grabbed our privates. Isn't that right, Dave?
That's correct. Now, we have a really full agenda today. There's a lot being going on in the showbiz world. There's been a lot of people writing in, our gazers, contacting us, etc. But first things first, I'm having reports up at PG Manor that down at PG Towers, you've just had your crack filled in, Dr. Lee.
Yes, I have. I've had 5 burly men this morning who filled me crack in. Yes. No, gazers, if you cast your mind back to a couple of weeks ago when I had no power for 3 days and they had to dig a massive trough in between my house and the next door neighbour's house, well, the men have been this morning to fill me crack in. It got very, very homoerotic at one point, Dave. It's not even hot outside, but 2 of them felt the need to take their top off, well, to strip down. And as they did, most of their clothing came off with it at the same time as each other. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know where to put myself apart from closer to the video camera outside to see, just to make sure I wasn't, seeing things. And I'm pleased to say, for journalistic integrity, I was not seeing things.
Now, this is what concerns me a little, that you've got a whole bank of security cameras where you can watch what's going on outside.
Yes.
Like Sharon Stone in Sliver.
I'm saying nothing else, but yes, we do. You see some sights out there sometimes, let me tell you. Sometimes some quite freaky things, but I won't talk about them now. But yeah, you get a lot of wildlife footage.
Do you? Okay, now speaking of wildlife, I'm going to jump through our jam-packed schedule because that's quite a nice segue. Wildlife up at PG Manor has been cracking on, let me tell you. So the other night, let my little doggy out for a wee, heard this scurrying outside, which the dog just picked up on and pelted outside, only to be greeted by a headless pheasant. Well, say headless. Its head was hanging off by a sinew. And obviously the other dog joined in and they were both dancing round this pheasant that was flapping around in the final death throes. So I can only think what happened was, and it wasn't them that did it because it was already doing that before they ran outside. So yeah, I watched a pheasant die in slow motion. Now, I've been talking to the villagers, etc., and they reckon it was a fox.
Yes, it sounds like a fox. I mean, the good thing is that the pheasant was already dead by the time you saw it. This is just its autonomic responses, like headless chickens. Their bodies still twitch away afterwards. Like Mary Queen of Scots after she was beheaded as well. Her body twitched for a couple of minutes.
Really?
But foxes they stalk. So you probably didn't hear anything because there might well have been a pheasant in your garden just minding its own business and a fox quietly approaching it through the bushes. And then a fox will very quickly strike and then just deliver the killing blow, usually to the back of the neck of the bird or whatever. Sometimes they will shake it around a bit just to subdue it. But often it's so quick and so lethal that the fox doesn't even have time to squawk. So they're very stealthy and efficient hunters. So I'm not surprised, but fairly gruesome. Zombie pheasant in your garden. Dogs in a blood rage.
Dogs were just on pins for the rest of the night because obviously there was feathers lying around, there was bloody entrails. Oh, honestly, it was like a scene out of some horror movie. It was, but actually it's kind of water off a duck's back for us now in the country, or a pheasant's back, because, it's just wildlife in action. I mean, there was me having to beat that rat to death with a spade when my dog had half killed it and I couldn't bear to watch it suffering. It's just what you got to do these days. No.
It's nature, love. It's nature. And don't forget, it's not just in the country. Remember the dead pigeon that was being humped by its mate that I observed that time outside the office window, or the 2 little frogs hibernating in my garden that got eviscerated by a magpie. Nature is brutal.
Nature is really brutal, isn't it? Yes. It's a good job we're civilized as human beings, aren't we?
Well, no, but that leads us another beautiful segue into civilized Friday night entertainment, because obviously this week's episode has been on the word, and seems to have gone down rather well on the socials. A lot of people have gone down memory lane, Friday night memory lane, where the kebab shop is at the end, and a bottle of Diamond White next door from the offie. Yes, and you've got some information about Oliver Reed, haven't you?
Well, I have, because you posted a reel on TikTok and Instagram at Podcast Gazers, if you want to plug into us on our socials, relating to an incident, a very famous incident with Oliver Reed when he was on The Word. Now, what the official story was that the Word producers placed secret cameras in his dressing room and placed bottles of vodka to lure Oliver Reed in. Famously, liked to tipple and was notorious for his guest show appearances when he was half cut. So the producer's intention was to get him razzed up, and then he would come on, be entertaining, and then do a very interesting version of Wild Thing with Ned's Atomic Dustbin. That was the gist of it, wasn't it? So, yeah, so that's kind of gone down in folklore history. But Oliver Reed's take on this, according to biographical accounts, was that it was all a big setup. Oliver Reed claimed that he was fully aware of the camera and that the stunt was entirely manufactured, saying the secret camera wasn't really secret to him and that the vodka was actually water, with producers essentially paying him to act drunk for the show. Now, who to believe?
Well, I mean, Oliver Reed was a very good actor. So his performance of a man of a certain age who's completely pissed was incredibly accurate, I have to say. So let's draw our own conclusions. I would have thought he probably held that as a kind of badge of honor, to be honest, knowing Ollie Reed. Not that I knew him, but hearing stories about him and how he could drink legendary drinkers under the table and be still there when they woke up, still drinking. So, but that's quite interesting. Quite interesting he tried to push back against it. I wouldn't have thought that was his style, but there we go. Well,
okay, so
now
let's move on. Jeannie Nunu is our gold stargazer.
Yes.
Dirty Dancing. We asked for our gazers to write in to try and convince Jeannie Nunu, who wears the fact that she hasn't seen Dirty Dancing as a badge of honour. So we asked our gazers to write in, email us, to try and convince her to watch Dirty Dancing. Now, we've had a mixed response. We've had quite a few of our gazers writing in, some positive, some not so positive. Do you want to tell us about Jan from Cardiff?
Well, Jan in Cardiff, hello Jan. She says, just put Dirty Dancing on and see what happens. The music's great, it's got a proper feel-good vibe, and somehow you end up completely rooting for Johnny and Baby without meaning to. You'll pretend you're being ironic, then suddenly it's the lift, and you're like, all right, fair enough. Also, good point, Jan, Patrick Swayze. So, that's the pro argument in a nutshell.
Yeah, and then we've heard from Patrick in Marseille. Okay. Hello, Patrick, a new gazer. He says, I mean, it's basically people being very earnest while dancing near a lake. Everyone acts like it's life-changing, but it's really just a posh girl learning feelings exist. If you miss it, you honestly haven't missed much. So, there we go. A lot of food for thought for Jeannie Nunu there.
Yes, I don't know whether she's going to be convinced by either of them, but let us know, Jeannie Nunu, how you got on. But I suspect Jeannie Nunu will still be wearing her badge of honour, and I don't blame her, to be honest. Some of the things I've had to watch, if I had never seen them, I'd be wearing them as a badge of honour. So there we are. I have been
so Jeannie
delighted.
Nunu, let us know how you get on.
I've been delighted by the response to a post with Joan Sims I put on socials last week. It has gone down a storm. Lots of people having a lovely conversation about Joan Sims underneath. Basically everybody saying what a great actor she was, what a great comedy actor she was, how versatile she was. Obviously I've been feeding the whole thing because I've just finished her autobiography, and she just comes across as such a lovely and not a tragic life in the sense that Kenneth Williams had a kind of sad life, but became very much of a recluse, really struggled with alcohol, bless her, was never convinced of her talent, even though she did these luminescent performances later in her life, but got bracketed as a carry-on actor, so never really was allowed the potential to really show what she could do. But I have actually fallen in love with Joan Sims over the last month or two, so I was really, really happy to see so many people, that she resonates still with so many people, and so many people were fond of her. So big up the Joan.
Yeah, big up the Joan. So yes, you posted this reel of Joan Sims acting drunk. Now, I mean, it's well known in the acting fraternity that to act drunk convincingly is really difficult, and I have to say she pulled it off with aplomb, and lots of people in the comments saying how versatile she was. So yeah, it was really, really interesting to watch that. Please do follow our socials at Podcast Gaze on TikTok and Instagram to see what we're talking about. Joan Sims, one of the lesser known unsung heroes of Carry On.
And I think she's lesser known, or not lesser known, but less remembered, because she always plays something different. So she wasn't like the Barbara Windsor, who you get a sense that she's playing an extension of herself, or Sid James, even though they weren't. But they're always the same character. But because she's so different in every single one, one week she can one film she can be a dowdy housewife, the next film she could be a sex bomb, you know. And like in Carry On Regardless, the clip I posted from, which is from 1959, you know, she's at the beginning then, she's just stunning to look at as well. So I'm big love with Joan at the moment. I'm having a lot of Joan love.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, another subject that we need to just address was we were talking about dry January, or just perhaps cutting down your alcohol and finding suitable alternatives for alcoholic beers and things. And I mentioned in one of our other Gazette episodes that I really enjoy drinking Guinness Zero. Now, this isn't... We haven't segued into a tailored ad for Guinness Zero. This is just us talking about Guinness. And you were talking about how you used to drink Guinness, but perhaps couldn't do anymore because it's got animal products in it.
No, I didn't used to drink Guinness. I drank Guinness once on Christmas Eve, 1992, and spewed my ring so violently that I've never touched it since. But then when I became veggie, I thought, well, I can't drink Guinness because it's got animals in it. So I've never touched it since.
Okay, so I'm just going to wrap up this, because modern Guinness has been vegetarian and Guinness friendly since around 2016 to 2018.
Guinness friendly, did you say?
What did I say?
You said, and Guinness friendly.
Oh, I meant to say vegetarian and vegan friendly. Apologies. I need to start focusing. So,
Need of Guinness.
But in 2018, they stopped using isinglass, which basically is the dried swim bladders of fish.
Now,
I don't know what
the dried swim bladders of fish. Do you know,
Yeah.
It makes me wonder how at some point in history someone has thought, oh, do you know what we can use that swim bladder for? If we dry it out, then how did somebody get to that conclusion? I don't understand it. It's so weird. And that's what they used to use in Guinness. That's disgusting.
Well, they had a lot of time on their hands to experiment back in the olden days, but don't worry, because since 2018, this isinglass, the dried swim bladders of fish, has been taken out of the production process of Guinness. So modern day Guinness, draft, bottled and canned, is all safe for vegetarians and vegans. There you go. That's that wrapped up in a nutshell.
I still won't touch it.
So Andrew from Down Under, he's our Australian correspondent, has emailed us. It was a very short email, but he just said, is Dr. Lee excited for the Blake's 7 return?
Yes, this is the very exciting news this week that Blake 7 is back. Obviously, somebody has listened to our episode on Blake 7 a couple of weeks back and thought, you know what? This needs to be brought back immediately. Yes, Peter Hoare, who is a director on Doctor Who and The Last of Us, has set up a production company in order to bring Blake Seven back. So it's coming back. I can't believe it. And I emailed Jan, who was in Blake Seven, and said, have you heard the news? And she's rather excited. I mean, the great thing for the old cast is that when a show like Doctor Who comes back, suddenly you get a new tranche of fans coming in who go back to the old classic series and rewatch it. So I'm just can't wait to see who they cast as the Servalan. If they're going to have Servalan in it again, who would they cast? You know, I've been trying to rack my brains, think who it could be, and I haven't actually thought of anybody. I can't imagine anybody but Jacqueline Pearce paying it, to be honest.
Yeah, of course, the OG. But if Peter Hoare is doing it, that must mean it's, you know, hopefully they're going to get the big bucks invested in it, etc.
Yes, and he was talking about Doctor Who and what went wrong with the Disney deal, and pretty much what we have been saying. You know, you can pump all the money in the world into it, but actually it doesn't need money. It needs characters and good storytelling. So he's very much been taking the Doctor Who example as a salutary tale. Now, we have been here before with Blake Seven reboots and whispers of and rumours of, but this one does look like legit and does look like it's got legs. So super excited.
Very exciting. Now, okay, can we just park everything? Because it would be really remiss of us as cultural observers if we didn't talk about the most significant cultural moment that has probably happened in the past decade. Okay, are you ready for it?
Right.
And that is, our gazers need our opinions on Brooklyn and the Beckhams.
Well, I mean, what did he say? Is that the wedding was ruined by his mother dancing inappropriately on him, like she was doing a tap dance on him or something? I didn't quite get that. Yeah, I mean, it's quite juicy. I mean, I don't give a fuck, to be honest. But, and you know, there's a part of me that says, hang on a second, Brooklyn, your mum and dad basically paid for everything. You haven't had to work. You know, you haven't had to work your arse off, have you? You know, whatever you've done, did you ever see those photographs he took as part of his photography? They were shit. You could have done blurred, out of focus. I think there's one he actually writes, there's a photograph of some people around the table. And he writes, yeah, it's a bit blurred, but you can kind of get a sense of what's going on. It's like... So...
It's kind of like our YouTube channel.
Yeah. You've had this very privileged life, and you've also met your wife, who I'm sure is lovely, but who happens to be from the richest families in America. So it's almost like, well, you don't need their money now because you've got your wife's money. So I'm just all a bit sniffy about it. I mean, there is some footage of them at some premiere when he's trying to bring his wife in, and Victoria is clearly not very happy about it. But who gives a fuck, honestly? What's your take?
Well, I mean, my first take is, seriously, who gives a fuck? My second take is, it just goes to show, you have all that money. What does fame do? What does money do? It just corrupts. And would they be having all these arguments if they didn't have a pot to piss in? They were typical working class people.
They probably would.
Fame corrupts.
They probably would be having these arguments, but it wouldn't be all over the bloody newspapers, would it? You know?
No,
it's just like,
I mean,
it's basically...
Yeah, it just feels so futile and silly and ridiculous. But I mean, they obviously have a whole bank and a whole team of publicists and lawyers that are pouring all over this, ready to give their advice. And, you know, whoever's advising them at the moment isn't doing a great job about it, because this is all blown up. And I mean, if it was just him and he's just decided to pick up his phone and just rage, but it all seems a bit cynical to me. Was it, you know, PR masterminded? Was this a kind of like a opening salvo to what's going to become a back and forth PR war, publicist war, etc.? But I mean, it's like a car crash that you drive past. You can't stop but just watch a little bit and watch it all unfold. And I heard a really interesting take on the radio, was that we've had Trump in Greenland, we've had reports about ICE, we've had Russia and Crimea, and everything has just been so heavy. So when something like this comes along, everyone goes, just forget about that for the moment. Let's just concentrate on, did Victoria Beckham do a dirty dance on her son's lap at the wedding?
Yeah, I have to say, I have been enjoying all the various permutations and suggestions of what actually the dance was that I've seen on social media. Some like inappropriate dancing from various shows and stuff, or even Victoria singing, I'm not such an innocent girl,
Well, it's funny you should say that, because as of this morning, Victoria's 2001 single, Not Such an Innocent Girl, has shot to number 1 on the iTunes chart in Ireland. And as of now, it's definitely at number 2 in the UK charts. And I heard rumblings when I came upstairs that it might have gone to number 1. So this is breaking news. The chart positions have been driven by social media campaigns, which is determined to fix the national tragedy that Victoria is the only Spice Girl without a solo number 1. So, well, it's driving the cultural narrative, darling.
I mean, there was always a sense, that it was a shame that she'd never had number 1, and it'd be quite nice if she did. I'm having a little Spice nostalgia trip at the moment. Actually, generally early noughties pop at the moment. So yeah, fair enough. But speaking of music, let's talk about some true music legends, because ABBA have had the Stranger Things effect on them, just like Kate Bush has, because Fernando appears in the very last series of Stranger Things, and ABBA Gold, an album that was released in 1992, has gone to the top of the Billboard dance chart in America, which is just incredible,
That's
ABBA
amazing. The
don't
power
stop.
of Stranger Things.
Yeah, and also the power of ABBA music, darling.
Yes, of course, that they chose ABBA in the first place.
Yeah, I don't think Victoria Beckham would have had that if they'd included her music in Stranger Things now, would they?
Well, you never know.
Such an innocent girl.
Well, I thought the duet you did with Dane Bowers, You're Out of Your Mind, would be a more fitting one to go to number 1.
Absolutely. This tune's going to punish you. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. That one.
That's the one. God, it was like having Victoria Beckham in the room with me.
It's been commented many times before, darling. Many times.
Are you Victoria Beckham to my Dane Bowers?
Yes. Because it's definitely not the other way round, love.
It's definitely not the other way around. Okay, let's move on, because we've fallen down the Beckham hole and it's just driving us both a bit doolally. Let's talk about something a little bit more culturally significant and important, which is we're gearing up to the Traitors finale. Now, we can talk about what happened last night, which was Wednesday. Then that's as
well,
far
let's
as
just
we've
stop
got.
in case. Spoiler, we're going to spoiler. So if you haven't seen last night Traitors, please stop listening. Press stop immediately in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we can talk now.
Okay, so
is Rachel cooked?
Is Rachel cooked? But I mean, it feels so blatant and obvious to us, doesn't it?
Yes.
We're kind of it's scream at the telly kind of TV, because it's like, isn't it bloody blatantly obvious that Rachel's a traitor? But to them, they don't see the edited highlights, do they? They just get bombarded 24/7 with theories. So Rachel might just be one of the theories that's floating around in all their heads.
I'll tell you what's been quite disappointing is that when they had that lovely dinner, was it the episode before last week? And Matt and Stephen, the two gay guys, were talking about their past experiences. Stephen growing up in a small Scottish village, Matt and his experience with conversion therapy in the Irish church. And then they had a lovely hug. You know, it was a really lovely moment for queer people, I suppose, to watch. But then there was all these theories of, well, they're clearly a couple. They're clearly in a relationship. So it's like two gay men can't express emotional attachment to each other and you know, physicality with each other without still that whole thing about, well, because they're gay, they must be shagging. It's like those straight friends you used to get who'd say, oh, I know someone who's gay, you'd really like him, you should get with him, as if you'd just like fuck anything. Do you know what I mean? It's really, it was just a bit, oh, guys, we can do better than this. You know, they're just in a situation. I was also reading about Traitors, how much they are isolated, the contestants. You know, obviously they have their phones and they're not allowed any contact with the social world. They have no access to news or anything. But apparently they're blindfolded when they're taken to and from their hotel. And they're only allowed to go in certain parts of the castle. So really, I'm not surprised they do their fucking head in, because all they have to do all day is just sit and talk about who it's possibly going to be. So in amongst all of this confusion, as you said, we all sit at home and go, oh, come on, it's really obvious. But actually it probably isn't, because you probably hear so many conversations. And if you've got someone like Rachel, who's very clever with her body language, just being in amongst them, but without drawing attention to herself, then it's probably not that obvious. So, and I think we got a sense of it when they had the secret traitor, and suddenly we were all aware that actually we didn't have a fucking clue either. Anybody could have been the secret traitor until it was revealed. So, but it's super exciting. Penultimate episode tonight, and then obviously the final tomorrow.
Yeah,
what do you think's going to happen?
Exciting. Do you know what? At this stage, I think I want the Traitors to win, because I think they've done such a good job of stirring the pot and, you know, creating patsies and, you know, dupes in people and diverting attention. I just think they played a really clever game. They've got rid of the, you know, the Deadwood traitors. So I think, but I mean, I really do want Jade to come through, because she has taken a battering, but she doesn't really do much to defend herself we see around the round tables and stuff. But I'd just like to see her in the final as well, and just see this battle of wills, because I've got a sneaking suspicion that she might be a silent assassin, that she might just come to her own right at the end. And the Traitors, this is what I want in my head anyway, the Traitors think they've got it sewn up, or one of the Traitors, because inevitably I think one of the Traitors is going to fall by the wayside, and I suspect it's probably Rachel. But then I just want Jade to come in and piss all over Stephen and reign supreme. She is my queen in my eyes.
Queen Jade. You got Queen Jade and I've got Queen Joan. There we go. Two queens with our queens.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Okay. Now, I think we should almost start to wrap up. But before we do, I just want to delve into our mailbag, because Rocky's been in touch.
Okay.
Yeah, Rocky. We love a bit of Rocky. Yeah, Rocky
now, I need to know,
one of our gold stargazers.
Yes, and I need to know, is Rocky in the vein of Rocky from the Sylvester Stallone mode, or is he Rocky as in Rocky Horror Picture Show mode? That's that, because when I picture him, I see him as Rocky from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So that's why I go Rocky when he messages us.
Maybe Rocky can message in and let us know what vein he folds into.
Yes.
So Rocky's emailed. So we had a little review of the year, didn't we, a couple of weeks back in our Problematic Gazette episode, where we kind of listed our favourite episodes, etc., etc. So he's emailed in and said, I've been going back and listening to episodes from the past, and I just watched the film Victim and your corresponding podcast, and both were excellent. Never heard of the film, but loved it, and so glad to have had that experience of seeing it. So thank you very much for the recommendation. So first off, isn't it amazing that we've managed to encourage people through our podcast to go and listen to or watch shows or films that would have passed them by if they hadn't listened to us? I think that's really heartwarming.
I love that. Some might call it indoctrination. I don't. But I really love it. I really love that. I love the fact that people do this. It's great.
Yeah, it really is. So Rocky does go on. He says, I tried to watch the corresponding TV or film, TV. I tried to watch the corresponding TV program or film. So, for example, the Good, which is Victim and Heartstopper, which he really enjoyed. The Bad, which is The Girly Show, and It's a Royal Knockout. Now, I have to say that is a dedication.
My God, Rocky, that's dedication, that is. It's a real knockout. Wow. You sat through that fever dream. I'm so impressed, honestly. That's amazing.
And then he goes on to say he just can't do the gore, for example, the substance and threads, but he'll still listen to the podcast, but not watch the show. And that's fair enough. You know,
Yes.
not for everybody, is
Fair
it?
enough. Fair
Some
enough.
people of a delicate sensibility would be absolutely crucified by threads.
Yes. Absolutely, God.
So anyway, not that I'm trying to labour the point, but Rocky does go on to say, over the year, your show has found the perfect balance between informative and entertaining. So keep up the good work and all the best for 2026. Love, Rocky. I've gone.
Thank you, Rock. Hey, thank you, darling. Thank you, darling. Honestly, thank you. It's lovely.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you so much for taking the time to write in, Rocky. We really do appreciate it. And all our gazers,
Indeed.
you know our email address by now, theproblematicgaze@gmail.com. Please do write in. Give us your thoughts. Give us any recommendations of shows you think we need to watch. And just general chit-chat. We'd love to hear from you, please.
Indeed, indeed. So we move on apace as we say goodbye to the word this week and we turn our attention toward next week's episode, which I think is a good one, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it really is. We're going back in the past to a TV sitcom UK stalwart, aren't we?
Yes, and we're looking at Dad's Army. So, yes, get your air raid shelter things on. I don't know. You do all that World War II stuff and then come and join us next Tuesday when the episode drops in your usual slots.
Yes, please do. And now, before we go, I've got a favour to ask our gazers. Please do spread the word of the Problematic Gaze. Tell your friends to listen to us. Tell your friends to follow us. Hit that follow button if you're a first-time listener now, because we really do want to spread our sucker tentacles around the world, don't we?
Exactly. Everything will soon be ours. And on that despotic note, should we say ta-ta? Or, more appropriately,
Au reservoir.
au reservoir.